Welcome to Rob's Rules, where the rules are simple. They're ours. I'm here, you're there, and thanks for being there. Yesterday was a pretty tragic day. Alec Baldwin had a prop gun, and by accident, it went off, and he wound up killing Hilna Hutchinson. She was 42 years old, a mom of one, a wife. Very sad, very tragic, and Alec was just crying, and they could not get a comment until now. Speaks out. Alec Baldwin talks about it was shocking and just utter sadness, devastation that he's feeling. And we'll get into that. We'll also talk about how did this gun go? What happened? Where were as they call them, armorers, the people who checked the props? What happened? We're going to go into that right now. This is an article that comes from The Guardian. Baldwin voices shock and sadness over the shooting of Hilna Hutchins on film set. She was 42 years old. He said, "My heart is broken after Alec Baldwin had accidentally shot and killed cinematographer on the set of his Western movie named The Rust." Alec Baldwin has expressed his deep shock and sadness after he accidentally shot and killed his director of photography with an apparent real bullet while on the set of his latest movie. The actor was acting in or rehearsing for the Western Rust when he discharged what he thought was a prop firearm. The cinematographer, Helena Hutchins, was fatally shot, and the director, Joel Souza, was wounded, the Santa Fe Sheriff's Office said. Despite attempts to save her, Hutchins was pronounced dead, unfortunately, after being flown by helicopter to the University of New Mexico Hospital. The director was being treated in a medical center, which he was brought to by ambulance. He has been released. He was shot in the shoulder, and he appears to be okay. Alec Baldwin on Twitter said, "There are no words to convey my shock and sadness regarding this tragic accident that took the life of Helena Hutchins, a wife, mother, and deeply admired colleague of ours. I am fully cooperating with the police investigation to address how this tragedy occurred." Baldwin said he was in touch with Hutchins' husband, Matthew, whom she has a young son with. "I'm offering my support to him and his family. My heart is broken for her husband, their son, and all who knew and loved Helena," Alex said. The sheriff's office said no charges have been brought following what appeared to be a tragic accident. The 68-year-old actor went voluntarily to the Santa Fe County office and speak with investigators, the spokeswoman Juan Rijos said. One Hollywood website quoted a witness and said a distraught Baldwin asked why he had been giving a firearm apparently loaded with real ammunition. "In all my years, I've never been handed a hot gun," he exclaimed. A director who had been working with Miss Hutchins said, "I am so sad about losing her and so infuriated this could happen on set. She was a brilliant talent who was absolutely committed to art and film." After speaking to a prop gun expert, this comes now from the Daily Beast, the expert said it is an accidental weapons discharge in which a live single round was accidentally fired. Toby Bays, a prop and set artist by training and the business agent for Local 44, told the Daily Beast that saying on set that the gun is live doesn't necessarily mean there's a live round in it. It can mean there's a blank in the chamber. He further explained that Hollywood prop masters will only put the amount of blanks into the gun that are meant to be shot in the scene. They're pretty strict. They always yell out, "Gun is hot," before they hand it over to an actor. Bays said the Rush shoot was a lower budget and used a local crew that didn't include any of his union members. There were only two major armorers, as they're called, in LA that provided modified prop guns for the entire country. He said, and a proper round would not work in any of those guns. I don't know where this gun could have came from. If it came from a private owner and wasn't fitted for the entertainment weaponry, it's possible, but I have no clue. Richard Howell said ultimately the responsibility for what went wrong rests with the film's armorer, who oversees all weaponry on the set. It is not known yet which armorer company had been hired for the movie Rust. It is up to the armorer company to prepare the firearms a day or two before the test fire them. Make sure everything's okay and blank rounds are okay, explained Howell, who for 30 years of experience in film armory, in film and TV, it's very controlled environment. You have to do risk assessments. Rob Hunter, a theatrical firearms instructor, there are multiple levels of safety protocols. So if one thing goes wrong, we're still protecting the people around that firearm, he said. So clearly there was a breakdown somewhere, probably multiple ones. Multiple safeties were probably overlooked or protocols would be my guess. And just because it's a prop gun firing blanks doesn't mean it's guaranteed as safe. Blanks can cause serious harm, in most extreme cases death if fired at close range. There are strict protocols in place to ensure safety for the cast and the crew. Rule number 1, when you're doing these rehearsals, the firearm, even though it has blanks, it's never fired at anybody. The angle's always cheated, Howell says. Those angles always look to the viewer as though it's directed at them, but it isn't. It's always aimed off. So the actors train, and then when the armorer decides that the rehearsal is fine and lets everybody know, then you go ahead. So it's very, very controlled health and safety risk assessments before you get there, and everybody is aware when there are live firearms on set firing blanks. We never point the barrel at another actor, even if it's a gun that has a blocked barrel. It's just good training, Hunter added. If you don't point a gun at another human, it won't kill them. You're never supposed to have live ammunition on the set, but just because there's no live ammunition does not mean that something can get in the barrel of the gun and become a projectile. The firearm should have never been placed in Baldwin's hands until the last possible minute. It should go from a hand that knows the gun is operating safety and it is loaded or unloaded as a case of warrants, he said. When it goes from that hand to the actor's hand, that should be unbroken chain of knowledge, of information we don't know. Did Alec Baldwin pick up a gun that he shouldn't have picked up? And was it not ready to fire? He's the producer, and someone is afraid to tell him not to pick that up? He questioned. Let's not forget the family of Brandon Lee, the son of Bruce Lee, who died on the set on the film The Crow in 1993 after he was accidentally shot in the stomach from a gun firing blanks. Agreed the accident should have never happened, just like Miss Hutchins. A firearm expert stating that this gun should have been tested. Now, is it real? Is it fake? Was it live ammo? And if Baldwin wasn't sure, it shouldn't have been pointed at anybody, according to the weapon experts. Therefore, like the weapon experts said, there was something that went wrong. Either Baldwin wasn't trained, the proper protocols weren't taken. These things should have all been done. Instead, there were multiple mistakes here, safety-wise. And they said that a gun is not supposed to be pointed at anybody. It just looks that way for the camera. Because then no one can get hurt while they're firing it. And it makes absolutely total sense. Here, that didn't happen. Just like Brandon Lee in 1993, the son of Bruce Lee, who was killed in the stomach exact same way that Miss Hutchins was killed. Therefore, the proper safety protocols were not taken here. And that should be rule number 1. Safety comes first. And here, in this case, someone did not check properly and do the proper safety protocols. I don't know why. I don't know what reason is. And now someone is dead as a result of safety not being number 1. And it should be. It should always be number 1, no matter what you do, no matter what field you are in. Safety is first. And I teach my daughter that, and so should you always teach your kids or grown-ups or whoever it is, whoever you're with, whoever you work with, safety is number one. Don't try to rush to get something done, because then something horrible like this could happen to anybody. They could be injured, really hurt, or even worse, killed, such as what happened here today. Thank you for your subscribing and your likes and your support and your views. Don't forget to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, slam that notification bell, and keep it here for more. Rob's Rules channel, we mostly go over Johnny Depp and Amber Heard, but sometimes we do this. Pop culture, entertainment, sometimes Star Wars, and sometimes gaming. So keep hitting on this channel. I love you all. Thank you so much. And say a prayer. Say a prayer to Miss Hutchinson, her family, her husband, her child, who now have to suffer the loss of his wife and of their mom. This is a tragedy. And I can only hope that ALEC, who's also got to be devastated, supports their family. You let me know what you think of all this in the comment section below. This is an absolute tragedy. I'm at a loss for words. I feel really horrible, not only for ALEC, but for her husband and her child. It's got to be just devastating. Just devastating. Horrible. No, you go into work and you don't come back home. That's just sad. I'm just at a loss for words right now. It's just horrifying when I think about it. You be safe out there. And don't take life for granted. Enjoy every day like it's your last, because like I said, you just never know. I love you all. Be safe, be well, and take care of you, number one, so you can take care of others. I love you, and I'll see you soon. Right here in Rob's Rules. Take care, everyone.